information from this east of Ukraine.
A series of press briefing in Ukraine Crisis Media Center with Colonel Lysenko, who will update on the situation in eastern Ukraine. Прошу.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The situation in the anti-terrorist operation zone remains complicated. In spite of a certain decrease in the number of shellings and some movements as far as the ceasefire regime is concerned on certain parts of the territory, the terrorists continue to violate Minsky agreements about ceasefire and fire at the positions of Ukrainian military. The most complicated for over several days is the situation in Donetsk direction, where terrorists have again tried to storm the airport in spite of the active attempts of terrorists and Russian military to seize the airport. This strategic object is still under the control of the Ukrainian anti-terrorist operation forces. Ukrainian military have successfully repelled all the attacks of the militants. The enemy sustained heavy losses and was forced to withdraw their groupings to renew their combat capability. Over the last 24 hours, the terrorists have 7 times shelled our positions from multiple rocket launchers Grad next to the village of Tonenka, and 4 times our strongholds next to Pisky and Opetne. From artillery, they have more than once shelled our positions next to the town of Avdiivka and village of Slavne. From artillery and tanks, they also shelled our stronghold next to Berezove village. On Luhansk direction, next to the settlement Stanitsa Luhanska, from mortars, grenade launchers and small firearms, they have 3 times fired at the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine. Next to the village of Verkhnya Vilkhova, our positions were shelled by militants from Grad rocket launchers. In artillery, they also from artillery and mortars, they have shelled our positions next to Makarova. In the Baltsevsky direction, the positions of the anti-terrorist operation zone were fired upon from grenade launchers and small firearms next to the villages Nikishin and Chernukhinka. The enemy sharpshooters are working in the vicinity of the city of Debaltsevo. In a suburb of Gorlivka, from artillery and small firearms, they have fired at the block post next to the village of Mayorske. In Mariupol direction, from artillery, they have shelled the stronghold of the anti-terrorist operations forces next to the village of Bogdanivka and the National Guard's positions next to Talakivka. Yesterday, the violation of the airspace of Ukraine in Sumy region was detected. At 11:20 a.m., our bodyguards have detected helicopter Mi-8 with the symbols of the Customs Service of Russian Federation, which penetrated the territory of Ukraine for several meters, 100 meters, and then flew back. Over the last 24 hours, 2 Ukrainian heroes died and 5 got wounded. At the moment, the measures are being taken aimed at the actionable mechanism that will help to stop armed juxtaposition. This is being taken care for, in particular, by the Joint Center for Control and Coordination of the issues of ceasefire and the stabilization of the delineation border between the sides, and representatives of the armed forces of Ukraine and Russian Federation are taking part in it with the active participation of OSCE experts. This work is rather delicate. We will keep you informed about its results. And also our colleagues from the Ministry of Defense will provide detailed information. Yesterday, the first batch of the tanks T-64 were handed over to the Ministry of Defense from the state enterprise Kharkiv armored vehicles plant that is part of the state company Ukroboronprom Gazprom. The machines, the vehicles underwent the current and restoration repairs and maintenance and is ready to be used for tasks in the anti-terrorist operation in the east of Ukraine. And the Kharkiv armored vehicles plant is repairing Tank 64 for the National Guards of Ukraine, and the traveling brigades teams of the enterprises are working in the combat zone. During a successful combat special operation, the counterintelligence group of the state security service of Ukraine have liquidated the dangerous subversion group that was part of the illegal militant formation SWAT and were preparing a terrorist attack against Mariupol. 3 citizens of Ukraine were detained. One of them was collecting information about the positions of Ukrainian troops, and a huge arsenal of firearms was confiscated, and submachine gun with a grenade launcher RPG-22, grenades of different types, trinitrotoluol explosives, and ammunitions. The saboteurs had 4 uniforms of the armed forces of the Russian Federation, and they said that all the members of the group underwent training in the camp on the territory of Russia and at the territory of one of military units in Crimea, and then they were getting combat experience in the ranks of the so-called Novorossiya army in Luhansk region. In Milovsky district of Luhansk region, the State Security Service of Ukraine has detained a 47-year-old citizen of Ukraine, a militant from the so-called LNR, who was transporting arms and explosion from Russia. He confessed that he underwent special training in the Russian Federation at the base for mercenaries on the territory of Rostov region. For half a year, he was engaged in combat on the side of terrorists and also provided for illegal transportation of ammunition and arms from Rostov region of Russian Federation to Ukraine. As a result of systematic shellings by terrorists, the gas pipelines in Stanitsa, Luhanska, Makarova, Valuiske, Malinovo, Pshenichna, and Vilhova, and in the city of Shastya were damaged. Almost 10,000 customers are without gas at the moment. The militants of the so-called LNR have shelled and fired from different firearms some of the settlements on the territory of the Luhansk region controlled by Ukraine. The most complicated situation, as before, is still in Stanitsa Luhanska and Stanitsa Luhanska district. Yesterday night and early in the morning, the militants have shelled the district center and the village of Valuiske from multiple rocket batteries Grad, and 5 houses were damaged in Valuiske. At the moment, there's no central delivery of gas in a number of villages where almost 10,000 civil people, peaceful residents live. After yesterday and the day before yesterday shellings, the repair teams have completely restored all the deliveries of electricity, heat, gas, and water in the city of Shastya. The State Secretary of the U.S., John Kerry, has remarked that the economic sanctions have damaged the economy of Russia. He emphasized that Russia could have avoided further sanctions if it stopped to support terrorists in Donbass. John Kerry said that after the Minsky agreements of the 5th of September about the ceasefire, Russia still sent several hundred military machines, including tanks, APCs, and heavy artillery to pro-Russian forces in Ukraine. The Minister for Foreign Affairs of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, said that Russia continues to violate international law, in particular by annexing Crimea, and he also called to stop fighting in the east of Ukraine. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lithuania, Linas Linkevičius, calls upon the West to support Ukraine, in particular in military aspect. We are obliged to support the Ukrainian authorities in all the plans, economic, financial, and political, and also in military, helping the armed forces. Yesterday in Brussels, the session of the Commission Ukraine-NATO on the level of Ministers for Foreign Affairs took place, and the Commission has signed a joint statement where the sides resolutely condemn the continuing and deliberate measures of Russia to destabilize the east of Ukraine, along with the violation of norms of international law. In particular, Russia continues to deliver tanks, anti-aircraft systems, and other heavy weapons to the terrorists, and also they continue military action, combat actions in violation of the agreements achieved in Minsk in September.
Svoboda radio station. Whether National Security and Defense Council may confirm the rumors about strengthening of guerrilla movement in the occupied territories, and also the appearance of pro-Ukrainian signs on some buildings. We have been receiving information about formation of small guerrilla units in the occupied territories in Donbass, and those small groups show themselves in quite active actions, trying to destroy and eliminate both military machinery and life forces of the militants. As some representatives of the former band groups, they try and start to join these guerrilla groups. Natalia Malarchuk, Ukrainian TV channel. Whether you have got any information about so-called 9th humanitarian convoy from Russia. All transport which is entering Ukraine through those fragments of the border which are beyond control of Ukrainian forces, they are actually beyond our control, and even when they cross those checkpoints where we have our border guard patrols and customs officers, but we also have the Russian customs officers which prevent our officers from checking the cargo. We cannot check this cargo. Thank you very much. The next press briefing of National Security and Defense Council will be tomorrow.